The Sykes-Picot Agreement was a 1916 secret treaty between the United Kingdom and France, with assent from the Russian Empire and the Kingdom of Italy, to define their mutually agreed spheres of influence and control in an eventual partition of the Ottoman Empire. The agreement was based on the premise that the Triple Entente would achieve success in defeating the Ottoman Empire during World War I and formed part of a series of secret agreements contemplating its partition. The primary negotiations leading to the agreement occurred between the 23rd of November 1915 and the 3rd of January 1916, on which date the British and French diplomats, Sykes and François Georges-Picot, initialed an agreed memorandum. The agreement was ratified by their respective governments on 9 and 16 May 1916. The agreement effectively divided the Ottoman provinces outside the Arabian Peninsula into areas of British and French control and influence. The British and French-controlled countries were divided by the Sykes-Picot Line. The agreement allocated to the UK control of what is today southern Israel and Palestine, Jordan and southern Iraq, and an additional small area that included the ports of Haifa and Acre to allow access to the Mediterranean. France was to control southeastern Turkey, northern Iraq, Syria and Lebanon. As a result of the included Sazonov-Paleologi Agreement, Russia was to get western Armenia in addition to Constantinople and the Turkish Straits, already promised under the 1915 Constantinople Agreement. Italy assented to the agreement in 1917, via the Agreement of Saint-Jean de Maurienne, and received southern Anatolia. The Palestine region, with a smaller area than the later mandatory Palestine, was to fall under an international administration. The agreement was initially used directly as the basis for the 1918 Anglo-French modus vivendi, which provided a framework for the occupied enemy territory administration in the Levant. More broadly, it was to lead, indirectly, to the subsequent partitioning of the Ottoman Empire following Ottoman defeat in 1918. Shortly after the war, the French ceded Palestine and Mosul to the British. Mandates in the Levant and Mesopotamia were assigned at the April 1920 San Remo Conference following the Sykes-Picot framework. The British mandate for Palestine ran until 1948. The British mandate for Mesopotamia was to be replaced by a similar treaty with mandatory Iraq, and the French mandate for Syria and the Lebanon lasted until 1946. The Anatolian parts of the agreement were assigned by the August 1920 Treaty of Sèvres. However, these ambitions were thwarted by the 1919-23 Turkish War of Independence, and the subsequent Treaty of Lausanne. The agreement is seen by many as a turning point in Western and Arab relations. It negated the UK's promises to Arabs regarding a national Arab homeland in the area of Greater Syria in exchange for supporting the British against the Ottoman Empire. The agreement, along with others, was made public by the Bolsheviks in Moscow on the 23rd of November 1917 and repeated in the British Guardian on the 26th of November 1917, such that the British were embarrassed, the Arabs dismayed and the Turks delighted. The agreement's legacy has led to much resentment in the region, among Arabs in particular but also among Kurds who were denied an independent state. Moral of the story: do not trust international agreements among nations, as most agreements are broken. Arab states were wrong, as well as other Muslim regions were wrong to support the British, French against their Muslim brothers and sisters. Roots, Islamic Homeschool, the History Series.